Hi, everyone. I hope you can see us. It says we're live, so we're hoping we are live. Thank you for joining us. And as always, my name is Busola Shogbamimu. I'm your life and legacy consultant, and I am talking today, this Sunday. This is the second streaming of our Legacy Talk, our family meeting. And I did say last week when we started, when we had the maiden edition with Salome Mbugwa, that it is called family meeting because we are like-minded people coming together to talk about the good we're bringing to the world. When you connect, when you see people that are doing amazing things to improve the world that we live in, you just feel that connectivity, like they are family. So it's about talking, coming together to share our common good. So thank you for joining us live. I admitted I am new at this thing, so give room for my gaps. I'm going to try and keep up to, let's see who we have there. 1 minute now. I'm just going to check who we already have live, just so we can appreciate you. Thank you. Eniola, okay, Wanola, Kintola, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you. Muiwa Fashakin, thank you so much for joining. Yeah, Grant, I have with me today, and I'm excited to have him with me, an amazing personality, a man that is, I'm going to introduce him properly. He's a coach to authors, he's a consultant, he's a publisher, he's a man that has known pain. And how best can you take your pain and make it into something that is celebrated? Not only for yourself, but you're impacting the world with it. And that's what this guy is doing. And I'm glad to say welcome, Dr. Deji Yusuf. Thank you for honoring my invite and to share what you do. So when I first met you, I met you only last year, towards the end of last year. When I first met you, when you posted on the Speak for Gold platform, Scars to Stars initiative, that was what stood out for me. And I'm like, Scars to Stars, what does that mean? There's a story behind this. So I want you to tell us your story of how you came about Scars to Stars.
Thank you so much. I feel privileged to have me here on this show. Thank you for the invite. Scars to Stars initiative. Yes, I am the founder of Scars to Stars initiative, and this happened, or I established this organization simply because of what I'd been through at the age of 14. At the age of 14, I had a house fire accident. I had to, jump out to escape the fire. I had to jump out from third floor down to the ground floor with fire on my body.
Wow.
And the neighbors called the police. They called the fire brigade. The fire brigade came. They took me away to the hospital. I spent 3 months on life support machine. The other 3 months, I spent it with the physio. And, I got out of the hospital. And after that, it was hell because my body, the bones developed into scars. So at that point, I didn't have confidence in myself. I was a teenager. I didn't have confidence in myself. I never used to go out when the weather is hot, as I prefer to go out when the weather is cold so that I could, wrap up and cover myself, cover my body. So 20 years, fast forward, 20 years later, I'm sure there will be a lot of people like myself that's been through such experiences that can help to develop their confidence and just to promote their identity and also to help them to achieve their dreams by, helping them from becoming moving from scars to becoming a star through either coaching, counseling, befriending services, support group. And that's how Scars to Stars initiative is formed.
What does it take to say, I'm not going to let this define me. I'm not going to let this particular situation, spell my identity. This is not who I am. This is a situation that happened to me. But how do you muster the courage to break out of that?
That's a great question. I feel that the person, the individual, has to be very determined to know that these too shall pass. I will overcome this. It's not an easy process. It will take the person to also be patient with themselves, to know that this will take some time, to know that it's not just going to happen. It will take a process that they have to go through in order to overcome their present situation, or to change their identity, or to develop a belief system that would give them that courage. It takes time. And some of the survivors, some of the people that I work with as Scouts to Stars Initiative, these are some of the nuggets or ideas or information I share with them, which is, you've got to be patient with yourself. Recovery is a process. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You have to just be determined that, look, this my situation would eventually change. It takes determination. It takes you being patient with yourself, follow through the process, and also seeking help. I always tell people, whether be it seeking help from people that maybe been through similar experiences before.
Yeah.
Having a mentor, mentor would help you, and you being open to your mentor and to the person will guide you and also be a source of encouragement. I feel that will help a great deal as well.
Yeah.
I also feel that not only mentorship, but you also, developing yourself as an individual. Maybe development comes in different forms. It could be you just maybe going ahead, trying your best to forge ahead with life, maybe going back to school. The person could possibly encounter some sort of bullying or rejection. Is all part of the recovery process. But if you're determined enough to just keep forging ahead, educating yourself, because when you start to educate yourself, you start to understand who you are more. You start to understand who you are. It might not be formal education, it could be informal, but just educating yourself, developing yourself, and understanding your strength. I know my strength. I know who Dr. Deji Yusuf is. So I focus on that. I know there's some things that I'm not good at, but because I know that I'm good at this thing, then I continue to develop myself. And that's how I'm able to understand who I am. That's not to say that, Christianity, your faith, does not come to it as well. Your faith too also matters. And knowing that all things work together for our good, for them that love God and are called according to his purpose, that itself is also a source of encouragement that have helped me, that have always helped me, with all the challenges with identity crisis that I may have had growing up. Just remembering that that scripture that says all things work together for my good, for according to his riches and according to his purpose. So that has always helped me, and I feel that some of these principles would definitely help someone to transition from a place of pain into becoming someone of purpose. So
if I can say that now, I know people, especially people that are very visual, they can be very mean. And children, my son had what's it, a hoodie that his friend made, and at the back of it, there's a script that says, kids are mean. It's not just kids that are mean. People can be very mean. And I can recall when we were in school, I was walking down one day, just walking down the campus with a friend, and this guy he had scars on his face, and somebody, as I walked past, the guy I was walking with just said to me, "Oh, hi, Scarface," and your friend, and the other guy was like, I was mortified, but the guy was like, just because he had come to a place of acceptance, it didn't mean anything to him anymore. He knew that having scars on his face, and I mean, they were like real big scars on his face, but almost everybody on campus, that was nickname he had been given as, growing up. And I'm talking probably about 17, 18, 19 years of age, but he had accepted himself that the scars on me does not define who I am. It does not limit me from achieving what I want to be, even though it was mean. I mean, now we're grown, we know that it's not right to do things like that. But, as kids, people kind of like give each other silly nicknames and things like that. So what I'm driving at is what you said earlier on, that when it comes to a place of knowing that this does not define you. And also, I know that, you talk about people that have external scars. There are people that have internal scars as well. That comes from situations, maybe from tragedy, from trauma, from difficult relationships. And when I went on your webpage, I know there was a woman whose external scars came as a result of fleeing from internal domestic violence. So it's just things like that we need to be cognizant of. And I'm using this medium now to appeal to people out there to bear in mind, we just need to be more aware, more respectful of other people, and more understanding of what people go through. So if you permit me now, I'm just going to go through, I'm going to share my screen because I have some images that I took from your site that I just want people to see.
Yeah, sure.
So he's a publishing consultant, best-selling author, and the principal facilitator of Write for Gold, a bi-monthly masterclass program for aspiring author, coaches, entrepreneurs, and influencers across the globe. Now, this is him with his scars. He says, "I smile because my scars are my biggest motivation to succeed, and they are not going anywhere." That's coming back to our acceptance. I mean, what were you thinking of, by the time you got to that stage? How hard was it?
I mean, for me to get to this level of acceptance where I start to smile, I mean, it was really hard. I remember I went through, at some point depression. I went through where I felt like an outcast. I went through people bullying me at school as a child. I went through where I just didn't feel comfortable talking in a group. And as a result of all these insecurities, I failed my GCSE 3 times, and then, when I developed the courage and the motivation enough, that's when I passed on my 4th attempt. So for me to get to a place where I could say I smile because my scars are my biggest motivation, this is something that I feel that is unique about me and it's different. So it's just something that I try to, is like a switch of perception, even though it was something that by the society is considered as something that is ugly or something that, is not the norm in the society. So I tried to, psychologically, what I did was to change the narrative, okay? To change it to something that actually, this is something that's unique about me, and that's something that is now my biggest motivation to succeed, to help more people, to tell their stories, to help more writers, to help more entrepreneurs, to help people to tell their stories so they can influence other people as well. So I think that this is at the point where I realized that actually this is something that would even helped me to succeed in life, even though it was something ugly. But now is actually my biggest motivation now, to help more people, to tell more stories more, and to connect with like-minded, which I'm glad I'm connected with you now. So
thank you so much. And honestly, it's my privilege to be able to showcase what you do, because I mean, like I said, the first time when I saw your post on that WhatsApp group, and I'm like, scars to stars. I mean, it was loaded. For me, it was loaded. And it just told a story that what you're doing out there is no small task. So, and I believe for every picture that you have there on your website, there's a story to it.
Yes.
So I only picked a few, but I only picked yours. So I suppose you'll go through it as you tell us what you were thinking of.
Yes.
As this, I 100%, anybody that's looking at this will know that you don't judge people by the outside. If you look at the outside, you will miss out in life. You will miss out in life, because the best of that person is resident in their character. When you already condemn somebody because of what you're looking at on the outside, how do you get to meet the value that they present in their character? So I love this when I saw it. It says, judge a man not by the scars on his skin, but by the content of his character. That's a quote somewhere, I suppose, or is that your original one?
This is my original quote. Although I'm inspired, I was, when I wrote this quote, I was inspired by a legend. What's his name again? The one that fought for black people in America. Is that Martin Luther? Yeah, Martin Luther King. Martin Luther actually wrote, I was inspired by him, then I had to just change the quote. Martin Luther's quote quoted, judge a man not by the color of his skin, by the color of his skin, but by the content of his character. Then I just switched that over based on my own life experiences, where I go for job interviews and they kept asking me about what happened to your hands, what happened to the scars on your hands. And I can tell that it's not about my performance or it's not about my qualification. This is just because they saw scars and they thought you won't fit in well with the team. So that's why, because I've been judged, because of the scars on my body. And that's why I was inspired to actually write this quote to inform people that, look, it's not about judging people by the way they look or their outward appearance. It's about the contents of their character. That's what we should focus on. If we're to deal with people or connect with people or to employ people into employment to work for us, it's not about the scars on their body or on the skin, but by the content of their character. That's what we should. That should be the focus. So that's how I came about this quote. Yes.
That's an awesome one. I'm just going to read quickly through what we have there. Awesome. I can relate. Embarrassed by keloids. Thank you, sir. Great job. Miwa Fashaki says, great job. Yvonne Chaipa said, good evening. Good evening, Yvonne. And said, focus on strength. Tolu says she's fine. Thank you for your encouragement. So true. Word. And Hannah, thank you for showing up. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. Here to support my classmate. Anna is from my creativity intelligence class. So thanks, Anna. I appreciate that. Right. So we go on then to the next picture. Self-acceptance is not just about embracing my strengths, but it also means accepting what I thought to be my weakness, including my scars. So that comes back to what we were talking about earlier on about self-acceptance. And because I'm passionate about identity, I'm 100%, sold out on people understanding the depth of who you are, the totality of who you are. When you understand who you are, you will love yourself with all your flaws, with all your shortcomings, because then can you move forward and you can make impact. Then can you see a bigger picture of what you've been called to do. And that's why we're having legacy talk. What you're doing today is you're living your brand of legacy because you're preaching self-acceptance, irrespective of how damaging the scars are. It's taking it on board and embrace it. It is who I am. I can't change it. If I can change it, I probably will try, but this is me. Scars and all, this is me. And it's about walking tall. You know?
That's correct. That's correct. That's correct. I mean, there's always a two sides to a story. Everything in life, there's right and left. There's always a two sides to a human. There's always two sides to a coin. There's always two sides to something. So, you know, I think what I'll try to explain is that, you know, we as humans, we should embrace who we are, our core person. Our core person, we both have strengths and we have weaknesses. Once we can accept both of that, then we're able to accept us, love ourselves, and we'll be able to show that same love to others, because we cannot love other people if we do not accept ourselves.
Absolutely.
So it's very important that we get to know our core identity, ourselves. Who am I? And that comes with knowing your strengths, what you're good at, what are your values. These are your strengths, and then your weaknesses as well. When you at work, they call this SWOT analysis. There's something called SWOT analysis. So you actually analyze yourself as a person, and once you accept yourself, once you analyze yourself, and then you can then accept yourself, and you can show the same acceptance to people. So when people do something, or people show you their weakness or the not so good about them, you're able to forgive them. And we preach about forgiveness, but if you haven't accepted yourself, it may even be hard to even forgive other people when they hurt us. Because knowing yourself, accepting yourself, you know that you're not perfect. So why should you let other person, or why should you expect other person to be perfect when you know yourself that you have your own weakness? Okay, so when we know, sorry,
basically you can't give what you don't have.
You can't give what you don't have. So it's about us knowing ourselves that we as human, we also have our strengths and our weaknesses, and then we can then, knowing that knowledge will then help us to demonstrate acceptance, love, and acceptance to other people. And then being able to do that will make this world a better place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I'm going to just read out what comments we have again there before I go to the next slide. Yvonne Chaipa says, powerful, that's deep. Tola Ayeni. Tola, thank you for joining. We are not defined by what happens to us. Tolu says, also hate pity when people look at scars in a pitiful way. Wish we can see people as people. That's a very good one. Thank you, Hannah. Pamela says, true. Yvonne, true. One says, self-acceptance helps us walk boldly in life towards purpose. That is it. When you accept yourself, you are who you are. Do you know yourself for what you have inside of you and respect yourself. I find that when you come to that point where you understand who you are and you accept yourself with all your flaws, then you know what you can work on. You know what you want to improve on. You know you're going to better yourself. But the respect you give yourself will indicate how people will respect you outside. If you don't respect yourself, people will trample upon you. I just think it's just human nature, So if you're down, they kick you down more. There are few people that would extend their hand to say, come on, get up. You don't need to be there. But human nature generally is like, you're down, what's wrong with you? You can't get up, and you're on your own, what's wrong with you? So it's important for us as individuals to, stand up tall. Whatever your shortcomings are, that's who you are. Work on them, fix them, learn, upskill, improve on it. But you don't have to play small because you have shortcomings. Everyone has them.
Everyone. We're not perfect. We're not perfect human beings. We all have our shortcomings. And all you just got to do is stand tall, because like you said, people will want to trample you because they feel that you're down. So we need to rise as people and know that we are people where we have our imperfections, and we can still rise regardless or irrespective of our shortcomings. We just have to rise and put stand our ground and be confident in who we are, that no matter what, we're not going to bow down. We're going to keep moving forward, because when another human can spot your weakness, they will continue to focus on that to pull you down. So, and that's where bullying comes from. Once they know that there's a weakness somewhere, they will focus on that, neglecting that strength that you have. Okay, but what you just got to do is you've got to rise up above that. And and that's because of my experiences, has actually encouraged me to also write about overcoming bullies. Because when you've been through traumatic experiences, there's there's a likelihood or high chance that people will try to bully you, because they could spot your area of weakness, or because they see the scars on your body, they will try to focus on that just to put you down, to victimize you. Okay, so right now my aim is also to write a book on how people can actually stand tall and overcome all these bullies or people that try to oppress you, put you down. How people can overcome that.
Yeah, fantastic. I don't know, when we were kids, like, and you're in school, girls, they kind of like, you abuse me, finish. What can you say? And some people like, before you abuse me, wait, let me abuse myself first. Let me start and finish myself, and then you can start. Because once I've called out everything that's negative in me, what's left? Unless you want to praise me, So that way, you're taking the power of the bullies.
Yes.
So I just love this about acceptance, because I think it's so key to self-identity. It's so key to,
it's very key also in this society that we're in, where people try to colonize your mind to believe that they have the best culture, best thing about themselves, just to degrade or devalue you as a human being. And this side of the world that we're in is even more important, that we know ourselves and we embrace our identity in order to improve on our confidence and project ourselves as someone of value.
Absolutely.
Okay? So it's also even very important that we know that we're in a world where is multicultural, and as humans, people want to show that they're better in any kind of way. So we need to stand tall and rise and project ourselves as someone of value, irrespective of our background or color.
Yeah, love yourself, love your skin culture, love your culture, love skin color. I said skin culture. Love your skin color.
Okay.
Love your
yes. Love who you are. Love who you are. Love where you're coming from. Love everything about you.
I say unapologetically as well.
That's correct.
Love yourself. Don't apologize for being alive. We had, this is funny enough, we had not funny enough, like in reality, we had I had my first webinar for the month was yesterday. I have a monthly webinar every second Saturday of the month. So the first one for the year was yesterday, and we're talking about the power in asking for help. And this was something that came up as well. When we're talking about introverts and extroverts, and how introverted people will not boldly come out there because for them to say, help me, it takes a lot. The extrovert will go and ask you and say, can you do this for me? You say no to them, and then they'll think in their head, oh, I went at the wrong time. And 2 minutes later, they're back again. Yes, now that thing I asked you before, can you do it for me now? That's an extrovert. But the introverted person will not want to, be a slap on their face. Do you know? But everyone has a right to space on earth. You were placed here for a reason and a purpose. You should not apologize for standing your ground or for being alive. You know, you should own your space unapologetically. Wherever you are, in any part of the world you are, own your space unapologetically. And
after all, we're paying tax. For those of us that lives in United Kingdom, if you're working, you're paying tax, you're paying your bills. So don't, you know, be accept yourself for who you are unapologetically. And that is just something that you should work tall about. You know, you don't need to start explaining yourself. You don't need to start explaining, you know, many things. You know, express yourself, express who you are unapologetically. There's a law that says that is law as well. I think article, because I'm also, you know, a social worker in this country.
Right.
And we had to learn about laws, about human rights, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
Express yourself, express who you are unapologetically. You have is a right. It's a right that you own. It's a right. It's a human right in Human Rights Act 1998. It's a right that belongs to you, and no one should make you feel small. You know, express yourself, both your strengths, and people that will embrace you will embrace you. The people that will like you, and people that wouldn't want to par with you,
absolutely,
that wouldn't want to be around you, wouldn't be. It's just life. It's just life.
I'm just going to read through what we have there. One says self-acceptance helps us walk boldly in life towards purpose. Tola says, thank you, Tola. Again, self-acceptance also makes us more accepting of others, which is true. You can't give what you don't have. You know, you have to accept yourself before you be able to accept other people. Then Hannah, Anna is putting a quote by Marianne Williamson. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking yourself. You know, don't play small. You have a purpose, you have legacy, you have a story to tell. You have a story that's peculiar and unique to you. A story that nobody else can say the way you will say. Even the story you have is similar to 1,000 people, there's still peculiarities that makes yours stand out because it's happening to you. So we're not made to play small. So I'm going to go back to this slide now. You can shake my hand. Scars aren't contagious. You have a story for that?
You can shake my hand. Scars aren't contagious. I mean, this is, you know, I've experienced from the web. I've experienced a lot of people when they see the scars on my hands. Sometimes they don't want to shake me, or when I go to offline test shop, and when they see the scars, they quickly drop the coins on the table, and many times the coins now drop. And sometimes that used to get me upset because I knew why they do that. Because I could observe the person's eyes, the way he looked or she looked at my hands. And then as a result of that, the response was quickly drop the coins on the table so he could pick it up. We didn't have to have any contact, you know, which is if they do that now, it's understandable because COVID-19 is out. But this had been happening even before COVID-19. Before COVID-19 was out. So that quote was because of my experience. And I feel that not only myself that may have been through this kind of experience, I'm sure other people too, maybe because of the scars on their body, people feel that maybe it's something contagious, that they don't want to have contact with them, and they probably have experienced what I've been through as well. So, and I think that's what inspired me to write that quote. You can shake my hands, scars aren't contagious.
It's not COVID.
Yeah, it's not COVID.
So your scar is a sign of your strength, and you wear it boldly, you wear it proudly. And I appreciate that. I honestly am really glad you turned your story of pain into gain. And I'm going to ask you now, because I think this is the last one, but I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. I'm going to come back to that. But I want to ask you now, how I mean, how wide is your reach with the Scars to Stars initiative? Are you just UK limited? Are you global? Do you know how wide? When did you start it really, and how wide is your reach now?
Yes, we, this organization started literally maybe a year ago properly. Our wide is global, but we're taking it step by step.
Okay.
It's global. I know that this long-term vision for me is something that possibly will be turned to a foundation, and this is something that will be my remaining even after I leave this earth. At some point, I hope someone would continue with the organization. So it's something that is global. It's something that all over the world, people living with scars and they need some sort of encouragement. We have lots of blogs there that people could read, very good resource that will inspire you to accept yourself and develop the confidence that you need to thrive in life. So so it's global. People could access our online resources, and if they want some sort of coaching, or they want counseling, or they want a befriending service, or they just want to be part of a support group, we have that as well, where they can always contact us and be part of us as well. I mean, when you're talking about purpose to gain, it reminds me of a book that I've actually written myself. I've written From Pain to Purpose, From Pain to Purpose, and I call it From Pain to From Pain to Gain, From Pain to Purpose. Some people call it From Pain to Productivity. So I believe it's all the same, because I guess it's about the transition.
Thank you so much, Dr. Deji. It's been a pleasure to have you. We're not finished. We're just already starting. So now you mentioned something there. You said about when you leave the earth, and this is something I know not a lot of people are comfortable talking about, because some people think it's morbid. I just think it's a reality of life. So when you leave the earth, you will want somebody to continue what you've started. So this is your legacy brand, really. Is there anything else that you're doing that's legacy related? Is there anything else? I mean, I know you're writing books. Your books are legacies as well, because you're sharing different aspects of your story. Is there anything else that you will consider doing in future, or
I mean, I'm already doing what I consider a legacy. I think the greatest legacy on earth is to help people.
Yeah.
And the greatest legacy is not the property you bought, it's not the car you got, or you're driving, or the clothes on your body. The greatest legacy is how you make people feel. So legacy is actually left, or you leave legacy on people's hearts, on human soul. That's where legacy, that's what legacy is. How people feel when they're with you. So I'm already doing that. I have many clients that I coach, aside from Scars to Stars initiative, which is, WFG, for people that want to write a book or they want to become a coach. I coach people, and that experience, the experience they have when I'm coaching them, the knowledge they gain when I'm with them, is something that I call a legacy, because they will be empowered and be able to help other people, and it becomes a chain of success, a chain of progress, and they can also help other people as well, through through the experience or what they gain, the knowledge they gain. They can also help other people.